Another iteration of my video series, Clones versus Clones versus Clones. In these videos, I basically take popular, expensive fragrance DNAs, and I kind of give you a whole lineup of different versions or different brands' takes on that DNA that are gonna cost you a lot less money than the original. So we've got 4 different fragrance profiles or DNAs, and then we've got 12 fragrances in total. So stay tuned. This one's going to be really good, but do me a favor before we begin. Please get into a battle with the like button and be sure you win and give it a click. Also subscribe to the channel and let me know down below what are your favorite takes on these particular DNAs. We're going to start with one of the most popular niche fragrances, certainly of the past 5 years or so, really of all time. I'm talking about Kilian Angel Share. And I have a whole range of clones or inspos or alternatives. And I'll start with this one right here. It is very inexpensive and it is quite close to the original DNA. I'm talking about Fragrance World's Cocktail Intense. This was one of the first 5 or so that came out, something like that, 5 or 10. And it's always been reasonably priced. It's very much reasonably priced now. And it's just pretty close to Angel Share. You know, you have a sweet, kind of marshmallowy, warm, ambery, sweet, vanillic fragrance with a little bit of spiciness. Some of them are more or less spicy, but a good warm kind of cinnamon spiciness. And then in the original, you have a booziness, not an overpowering booziness, but you definitely have that feel of booze throughout. And the only thing I'd say about this one is it is not as boozy as the Kilian is, but altogether it's quite close and doesn't deviate much from Angel Share. And another one that is fairly close, doesn't deviate too much from Angel Share. This one is actually my favorite alternative to Angel Share. This is BOROUJ Sillage by DUMONT. And this is an amazing fragrance. It is very dense. It is weighty. It's perhaps extrait de parfum, or maybe it's just, no, it's a parfum concentration, and it is extremely long lasting, extremely powerful. And the thing that deviates in this one that I absolutely love is that there is a plum note in this fragrance that is really the star of the show. It's like this, you know, juicy, sweet, fruity plum laid on top of a powerful Angel Share DNA. I love this stuff, BOROUJ Sillage. Next one that definitely does deviate, and this was the first one that blew up, that everybody had to get a hold of, and it is excellent, excellent compliment machine right here. I'm talking about Lattafa Camra, and clearly by the bottle, they were going for Angel Share. There is another Middle Eastern fragrance that people will point to and say it's closer to that one, and I get it, but inevitably, they were certainly trying to telegraph with the bottle that they wanted you to know this was going to smell similar to Angel Share. And it does, but it's got a sweet, dense date note that's going to differ a little bit from the original. So there's a little bit more of, there's a little bit of a different texture. This one I would say it's thicker, it's more syrupy. There's also a little bit of a Middle Eastern flair. There is kind of an oudiness in this one, or a certain kind of woodiness that you don't get from the original. So altogether, I would say this is absolutely fantastic. It is one of my most complimented fragrances. My wife absolutely loves it. It's very inexpensive and incredible value for money. It's nuclear strong as well, just like the one that I just showed you. Of course, Lattafa Camra. Now this one is not necessarily a dupe, but it is definitely in the family of Angel Share Lattafa Camra. I'm talking about this one right here. This is Lattafa's Teriyaki Intense. And it is an Angel Share style DNA. This one does actually, funny enough, have a plum note in it as well. It's a plum liqueur that is in the opening. You've got a cinnamon, saffron spiciness. You've got, of course, a lot of sweetness. This one has a little bit of a powdery sweetness, I believe, coming from tonka bean. So it's a little fruity that differs. It's a little powdery that differs from Angel Share, but still that style of fragrance. And just like most of these have been, this is a monster performer. It's 12 plus hours. You've got to scrub it off your skin. Lattafa Teriyaki Intense. And this one is also a bit of a twist on the Angel Share DNA, although a lot of websites do sell it as just a straight Angel Share alternative. This is from a subhouse of Armaf or Sterling called Maison Luxe, and this is Exotic Amber. To me, though, this really smells like you take the Angel Share DNA and you mix it together with Xerjoff Herba Pura. It does have that kind of a fruity, aromatic, very Herba Pura kind of fragrance mixing with the warm spiciness of Angel Share. And so I would say it's probably 75% close to Angel Share because of that addition. It's super sweet, super strong, super long lasting. And if that sounds good to you, you might want to check this one out. Maison Luxe Exotic Amber. Finally, one that I'm super excited to get a hold of. I have not smelled the original yet of Angel Share Paradise, but Fragbar here has made an amazing fragrance, and I can only hope that the original smells as good as this stuff. You know, this one differs a little bit, Paradise differs a little bit in that it's a more fruity take on the fragrance. It is still a warm, sweet, Angel Share-esque fragrance, but there's this raspberry kind of bright, tart fruitiness. There's some other fruits as well. There really is a little bit of like a fruity mixed drink feel laid on top of course, the Angel Share DNA. This stuff is incredible. Again, from Fragbar, Angel Share Paradise. All right, next we're going to go with the DNA that I have smelled the original. I don't own it. I really, really like it, but it's very expensive. I'm talking about Clive Christian Blonde Amber, and I have two that are actually really good. So first up, I've just got a little travel spray here from Generic Perfumes. Clive Christian Blonde Amber. Actually, before I had ever tried the original, I tried this fragrance, and oh my goodness, I loved it. I've actually tried to kind of hang on to the last few sprays in here. One of you actually told me, go to Generic Perfumes, order Clive Christian Blonde Amber. I did, and I love it. This is a spicy, sweet fragrance. It's sort of like a, you know, warm, spicy with some ginger, kind of sharp, almost aromatic, fresh spicy with a lot of ambery and vanilla sweetness. You know, it sounds like I'm describing something that's quite similar to Angel Share, but it's not. But it is in the same family for sure. You know, warm, sweet, spicy fragrance. It's amazing. And I will tell you, whenever I smelled the original, immediately I thought, this smells exactly like the Generic Perfumes. And so this is really, really good stuff. Again, from Generic Perfumes, Blonde Amber. Next up, from Fragbar again, I've got this one right here, their take on Blonde Amber. And I gotta tell you, it is excellent. It is probably every bit as good as the Generic Perfumes. Maybe the Generic Perfumes is a little bit more potent. This is their A+ version. So this is Generic Perfumes mid-tier, and so maybe that's why it's got just a touch more density than the Fragbar. But I gotta tell you, the Fragbar is a beast. It is so very similar to the original. I think honestly, whether you went with Fragbar or Generic Perfumes, I think you'd be happy with either of them. They are both great, and they probably only deviate from one another 5 or 10%, and I would say they probably only deviate about that from the original. So Fragbar, and Generic Perfumes. Either one of their Blonde Amber Dutes are awesome. All right, next up, one of my favorite Nishane fragrances that I'm glad is starting to get a little bit of shine. I've heard more about it in the past year than ever before. I'm talking about 100 Silent Ways. It is a floral vanilla fragrance. It's really an iris and orris fragrance with a nice sweet vanilla. There's also, I think, some jasmine in there. There's a little other kind of florals as well. But Fragrance World's highest end brand called Maison de Parfums has done Mythique for him, and it is an absolutely fantastic dupe of 100 Silent Ways. You know, this one, maybe the creamy sweet vanilla is not quite as dense as the original. We're splitting hairs here, but maybe just 5 or 10% less so. But other than that, I would say it is right on the money. If you can do floral fragrances, something like Valentino Uomo Intense, then you're really gonna like this. Next up, from Generic Perfumes again, their dupe is absolutely amazing. This is a highly complimented fragrance for me. It's the kind of fragrance you don't always think of as a compliment getter, but that powerful, sweet, gourmandy kind of vanilla and powerful projection. This is a dense, weighty, very strong, very long-lasting, 10+ hours fragrance. I probably prefer this to the Maison de Parfums, but again, they are actually quite similar. Again, this is Generic Perfumes 100 Silent Ways, A+ version. And one that is not actually a dupe of 100 Silent Ways, but it's certainly in the same family. I would say probably 85% similar, maybe somewhere in there, 80 to 85% similar, is this one right here from Lattafa, His Confession. And this one's interesting because it's actually a dupe of Celine Black Tie, which again is something kind of in the style of like a Valentino Uomo Intense or Givenchy Gentleman. I've never smelled the Celine fragrance, but I have smelled, of course, the Valentino, the Nishane, and this one is definitely in the same family. It's like a vanilla fragrance, basically, with some really powdery orris. What I would say about this one is it doesn't have necessarily as much of that kind of iris flower, that fantasy iris kind of lipsticky vibe, but it's still super similar to the last ones that I just showed you, and I would say is a good alternative to 100 Silent Ways. And finally, we're going to go with alternatives to Creed's Virgin Island Water. I think like one of the best summer fragrances ever made. It's a sweet summer fragrance, and I really like that about it. It is a boozy kind of mixed drink fragrance. You've got, I believe it's a white rum note, and then you've got some lime. You've got just this sort of almost tart mixed drink by the beach with tropical breeze and, you know, the ocean vibe. I mean, it's the whole package deal all in a bottle. And I'm amazed that Lattafa or Armaf or one of the big brands, Fragrance World, hasn't done their version yet. So until they do, we are left with some other alternatives like this one right here from Chez Pierre. This is called Feels Like Summer. A very good alternative to Virgin Island Water. It captures the DNA, it captures the feel of the fragrance. You've got that wonderful sweetness as well as a touch of booziness, as well as those citruses kind of all mixing together with a bit of an aquatic feeling fragrance. Very, very good stuff. I would say quite close to the original Feels Like Summer. And one that I would say is even better because it is stronger, it is more dense, it is more weighty. I'm talking about Generic Perfumes' take on Virgin Island Water. Smells very, very similar to the one that I just showed you. They're probably 90% similar to one another. This one is just, again, it's stronger. It's a little more potent, whereas the Chez Pierre is probably like a 6 or 7 hour fragrance on me. This one's probably more like an 8 hour fragrance on me. And I love this fragrance. I've got a travel spray that I've almost burned all the way through. This is generic Perfumes Virgin Island Water. And the last one in the video is not even a clone of Virgin Island Water, but it is definitely in the same family. I'm talking about this one from Paris Corner, Coconut Lagoon. And so this is a coconut lime kind of a tropical fragrance. Just like the last two I showed you, this one doesn't have a boozy note, and it does have a violet leaf ozonic, a little bit more of an airy quality that does differ a bit from the other two and even from the Creed, but it's still probably 80% similar to Virgin Island Water, and I think until we get a Paris Corner, Armaf, or Fragrance World version, this is probably the best thing you're gonna get from the big brands. Again, Coconut Lagoon, it is an awesome tropical summer fragrance. So that's been a whole mess of alternatives to 4 expensive DNAs. I would love to know from you down below, do you have other alternatives to these fragrances? What would be the one you'd recommend? Thank you so much for watching this clone versus clone war video. Remember to have a war with the like button and click it, and subscribe to the channel. I'm Justin, this is Sillage Scents.